Hey guys! Happy new moon in Cancer today, and also Neptune retrograde in Pisces. I decided to go live today because it just felt right. I just wanted to. So as always, it's gonna take a little bit for everybody to kind of pile in. I like, I did not realize the circles and bags I got going on this morning. My cat, Mr. Clyde, was not letting me sleep so good. Also, new moons, full moons, sleep tends to be either really good or like really not so good, right? But I'm actually in the middle of working right now. I actually did the live for the new moon Cancer on Patreon yesterday. Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Claudia, hi. Aloha, aloha, sis. Shalene. There we go. We got some people in here. It's still early in the morning here on Island, by the way. I know some of you guys, it's already lunchtime. But it's like not even 8 o'clock in the morning here yet. New Zealand, Cancer Sun getting her period on Cancer New Moon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Haven't been to live in so long. Hey, Brooke. Hi. Working but listening. Yeah, I got you. It's okay. Working, working, working. Right. Yeah, I'm downloading the live from yesterday that I did for the new moon, and I'm going to be putting it up on Vimeo today. It's 2 p.m. over there. Yeah, it's almost past lunchtime where you're at. Hi, Clyde. Clyde's also with me. Um, you know, he wants to dominate the space as always, which I like, I kind of like it on some level. But when he like sprawls out across the entire table and I can't pull cards, it like makes me sad. How's Clyde? He's good. He's doing good. Happy new moon. How's Clyde? Everybody's asking about Clyde. He's good. Come here, Bubs. Everyone wants to see if you're okay. He's okay. um, his little boo boo. I really don't know how he got that. Like, I really don't. My guess, because well, no, I don't tell you guys. I told people on Patreon. There was like a 4 day. Okay, it's like pet day. There was like a 4 day streak of like a centipede issue. Um, and you guys know how cats and dogs are. They see something, they want to go play with it. So my guess, I'm probably wrong, who knows? My guess is that he was playing with one and he shouldn't have been. Um, because their bites are poisonous and painful. But he's really doing better. His lip is looking good. Like the cut he had above his lip, is like gone as he sprawls across. They protect you in the astral and dogs protect. Yeah, he's totally a magic cat. He's totally a magic kitty. Like when I adopted him, I was in a really dark place, and I needed a cat. I needed one. I was kind of going through the whole dark night of the soul kind of thing. And I remember when I walked in and I saw him from across the sounds like a love story. I saw him from across the room and I was just like, oh, he's a beast. I want that cat. That cat is mine. And I walked up and he just was so like loving and I was like, I knew he was mine. Um, and he's just been like glued to me ever since. Um, he makes me smile. Yeah. When's the new moon exactly? It's actually kind of later in the day today. So for those on the East Coast, it's like at 10:50 something, like 10:53, I think. So almost 11 o'clock at night. So you can just adjust that for your time zone. Like here in Hawaii, it's almost at like 5 o'clock at night. Um, our pets are our guides sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. He's totally like he's a lot of things for me. He's really helped me heal. He's held great space for me. When I do energy work, he helps ground me and he helps me anchor up and causes mischief by throwing things on the floor. Okay, you can throw that one down, but you can't throw this one. um, yeah, he's been great. He's been great. And he definitely does protect me energetically. Like I feel that, I see that. And you guys see how he shows up in readings sometimes. Like he's working. He's working. What does it mean spiritually for left foot has pins, needles for 20 minutes? Uh, Hold on a second. I know, you want the whole table to yourself. I know. Just don't want him to break anything. What does it mean spiritually? I mean, the left side is feminine. Feet are foundations. It could be that your feminine doesn't feel safe. You don't feel very grounded. Or you also feel like you're having a lot of trouble having progression in your life. But honestly, I would also just make sure that it's not anything like like a fungus. Sorry, not to be too TMI. I would also just make sure it's like not a fungus. Because pins and needles are like almost borderline itchiness on the feet is like not a good thing physically speaking, right? Um, I'm always finding cats. Yeah, cats are cool. Cats are super cool. Um, I'm like so happy for this new moon though too, guys. Like I've been waiting for this new moon. Like the last I don't even know time. The last month or so, it's been crazy. And then the solstice was kind of crazy. And for me, I'm a Cancer rising, so this new moon's happening in my first house, and I can't even tell you how excited I am to get out of my 12th house. I'm almost out of my 12th house. Venus is still there, Mercury's still there, but I'm really over the 12th house right now, to be honest with you guys. Um, New moon in Cancer. Yeah. Will you make a video for the signs? Well, on my Patreon, I do lives for new moon and full moon. And then I post those to Vimeo for people who like want to partake in that because those videos, they're very in depth and I do a lot of channeling and we do a lot of talking and we hold a lot of space for each other. So it's like I like doing that on Patreon. I don't really like doing it on YouTube, and I feel like it's also created a nice little like tribe and support system around like new moon and full moons. Like I said, I still post it to Vimeo for anybody who does want like the really in-depth information on new moon and full moons. Um, but yeah, with this new moon, like Venus, Jupiter are playing massive roles in this new moon. They're both aspecting the new moon at 7 degrees. Like everyone's at 7 degrees. The sun, the moon, Jupiter, and Venus are all at 7 degrees. Different signs, but all 7 degrees. Love and hugs to you, Urban Goddess. Death is simply transformation. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I think they're still called super chats, right? Thanks for 222. I'm a Capricorn rising. What house is that for me? That's your first house. Capricorn rising, your Capricorn is in your first house. So Cancer is your seventh house, which means Gemini is your sixth house. And that also means sixth, fifth, fourth. Aries is your fourth house. Is that right? That feels right. Yeah, for this new moon, I'd really pay attention to Aries and Gemini, and of course Cancer. But when I work with astrology, let me back up. When I work with astrology, I make my notes, I look at what's going on, but I also get channelings about the astrology itself. So it's kind of interesting. So like when I talk about astrology, I'm giving you my Can you be still? I just don't want you to be too distracting. Can you lay down? He's like, no, I cannot. So when I talk about astrology, it's a combination of things that I've already channeled in our intuiting, and also a combination of like my own knowledge base of astrology. So this new moon, Gemini, Aries, and Cancer. And they're creating kind of this interesting little triangle between all of them, between the Cancer, Aries, Gemini energy at 7 degree point. So I actually would look at it from a standpoint of wherever you have Aries is where you're going to want to be very impulsive. You're going to have a lot of motivation and drive, and you're going to want to do. Think of it like very masculine energy. But Jupiter's square the new moon. So when Jupiter's in a square, you just got to be careful. Like, because Jupiter gives rewards and gifts. It's a giver. It's the generous planet, right? So as Jupiter is giving our gifts, it can go either way when it's in this kind of a position, right? So as I was saying on Patreon last night, this new moon is all about how you conduct yourself. That's like, it's all about having moderation and discipline while enjoying all these different facets of your life. You have a lot of opportunities coming in with this new moon. We have a beautiful Venus sextile Jupiter energy that's at play too. And it's fun and it's playful and it's flirty. It's also very healing. It's also very intuitive. We also are like feeling really motivated to like work on our goals. It's like there's all kinds of different things going on right now. But depending on how you handle yourself with these new opportunities that come in, it could go really awesome. Or you could kind of feel like you're going through a little bit of like karmic energy, consequences. So just be mindful. Wherever you have Aries, I would actually say that's where you should practice your moderation. Like, have your fun, be motivated, do your shit, but but be a little disciplined. Have humility. Having humility is gonna be big under this new moon. Like, big, 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 big. If you are like really like overtly confident and kind of like allow your confidence and everything to kind of go to your head, you could have some kind of loss or disappointment or embarrassment or backfire, which you put in this position. So, like I said, Aries, just practice moderation. Um, Gemini is going to actually help us maintain that moderation and have balance. I go into like major detail on Patreon about this, but so I was telling everybody last night, Gemini is going to be kind of your balancer, your saving grace. So allow for Gemini to make that happen. It's like Gemini holds all these different facets of truth at the same time. It's why that energy, Gemini itself, is really associated with integration and unifying with the self, right? Even in recent last couple of years, it's also been associated with unity consciousness or even ascension. So stay open-minded, have humility and modesty, stay disciplined, but allow for people to teach you things, allow for people to show you things, allow for opportunities to happen. Don't overcommit, don't overdo, don't excess, don't overspend, but just enjoy this time, okay? And we do have a lot of intuitive energy because it is Cancer, and then also Neptune's retrograding today. Neptune retrograde in Pisces, that actually, in my opinion, it actually enhances your intuition because Neptune in and of itself is like it's very like murky and kind of illusionary, right? Like, and it's like its own energy. But and it's home in Pisces, and if you take that retrograde, it internalizes that, right? So I feel like it actually creates an amplification of intuition, while with other planets it creates restriction. Um, yeah, so your intuition is going to be giving you a lot, but sometimes with Neptune retrograde, especially in Pisces, it can create confusion when you're trying to also integrate that into like your own like your the mental part of yourself, like the logical part of yourself. So be aware, be cautious, but spend time with your intuition. Give yourself that space, give yourself that sacred time to be alone with yourself and connect with spirit and get any information you need to intuitively, while also indulging in these new opportunities that are coming in now, this playful energy that's coming in now. It almost is going to feel like, and I've been kind of seeing this too with other people's perceptions of the new moon, that it's almost going to feel, people have been using the word reset. I think it's an interesting word to use for it. I think it's an opportunity for that. I think this is actually going to be like, feel like a little bit like a karmic energy too. Like we're still kind of in that vibe, in my opinion. It can be a really great reset if you conduct yourself properly. If you practice that modesty, and you practice that discipline. If you don't, I feel like it's just going to cause people to repeat shit. Like, honestly. And I think it's going to cause like loss and disappointment for people if they don't watch themselves. If they don't take responsibility and accountability for how they're like treating people and treating these new opportunities. um yeah, so with Cancer, I feel like that's actually where you're going to see growth and development and consequences wherever you have Cancer in your personal houses. But that's just my opinion. There's also a bunch of other stuff going on in this new moon I don't really feel like getting into, but again, it's on Patreon if you guys are interested. Went to retreat this weekend, so this new moon feels really good to me. Oh, cool! That's like good timing. That's perfect timing. Um, yeah, for me, I'm Cancer rising, right? And so Gemini is my 12th house, and Aries is my it's actually, Aries is like my 10th and 11th house because like my 10th house is also Pisces. So all this like motivation and drive I have like regarding work, or excuse me, like my mission and my purpose, I do need to honor that. Like that should be honored. I just need to be careful to not overdo it, to not overcommit myself or take on too much. Um, be responsible and accountable with my own energy. Um, And for Gemini being my 12th house, that's going to help keep me anchored. That's going to help keep me balanced, which makes sense, right? It's like 12th house is spiritual practices, it's alone time. It's also very healing energy. It's closing out karmic stuff. It also, in my opinion, relates to health. It's more the illness side of health, but in juxtaposition to the sixth house, right? 6 to 12, like 1 to 7, right? I think it also encompasses health. So if I'm also staying on top of my own spiritual practices, my own healthy routines, and allowing myself to kind of have some time to create and just kind of enjoy life, I should be able to have a really good experience with this new moon. And then the consequence or payoff is going to happen in my first house, which is personal growth and development. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And it feels good. I've been in really good energy the last couple days. When something is your moon, what house is that? It depends. Like, for example, I'm a Cancer rising, but my moon is Capricorn, right? So my moon sits in my seventh house. So it's based off of that. You'd have to look at your own chart for that. I've been watching you for a long time. Love you lots. Aw. I'm curious, do you practice prayer? Do I practice prayer? I mean, I'm always communing with my guides. I'm always communing with spirit. I don't know if that's what you are referring to as prayer specifically. I feel like with the word prayer, I feel like people have a certain connotation with it. But I'm always communing. Yay, good to hear. I love your nails. Oh, thank you. I've been working with a certain goddess. I think goddess isn't the right word for her. Recently, and she's all about blue and white. She's all about blue and white. So I've been really in those vibes. Actually, I'm not even wearing my bracelet. Oh no, I made a bracelet to honor her, and I'm not wearing it. I need to put that on actually. I've been drained lately, especially when I go to work. Any advice? You need, self-care. Self-care is going to be big under this new moon too. Like that's Cancer. Cancer is care and nourishment, right? It's that like motherly maternal energy. Also Ceres, I think that's how you say that asteroid name, is in Cancer as well, and that's also creating some need for self-care. Yamaya, yes, Yamaya. I love that some of you guys knew that. I love that. Uh, oh, excuse me. Random Tuesday live. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, today's a really not important, but today's a special day. That's a good way to say that. Today's a special day. Are the ancestors calling you? I work with my ancestors. I will say, I meant to go live, but so, okay. Last week, Jesus, last week, I was in a vortex. No doubt about it. I was in a vortex. And I'm actually not allowed to say everything I was doing while in that vortex. So I'm not going to go into that. But I was in a vortex last week, and I really wanted to go live to talk about some of it, because some of it I can share, but some of it I can't. But I couldn't. Good Lord, I could not. I could not do it. Could not do it. Ancestors were really big last week for everyone. Everyone. I feel like the solstice opened a portal that we are like, I feel like the new moon is actually helping us to fully cement the transition through the portal. But the ancestors were prominent. They were very prominent, and that was made very clear to me. And like I said, I work with my ancestors, but they were like they were coming in for everybody, to work with, to talk to you, to kind of usher you, to support you guys, whether you were aware of it or not, but they were very present. Last week was a lot. Yes, it was. Monday, in love. By Friday, I was hated. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was making me hella cranky and tired on my end. Seeing feathers since last year. Do you know their meaning? Feathers are typically a sign of having like either angels or guides or ancestors close to you. It's actually, feathers are actually really special. Every time I see a feather, I'm like, oh, I get so happy. It's like, it's another way of saying like, hey, you're loved and you're supported and we're here. And different feathers mean different things to different people. When it comes down to all this stuff, and maybe I haven't been on YouTube enough to like really, repeat this message over and over. I also know I've got like a different wave of people now since I've talked about this stuff, but it's really, in my opinion, you don't have to take this as true. This is just from my own observation. Um, I find that it's really good to not be attached to like these standardized meanings and understandings of things. Like, oh, everybody believes white feathers are, a sign of, I don't know, just as an example, like awakening, right? As an example. Different things mean different things to different people. And your own personal messages between you and spirit, or you and your spirit team, you and yourselves, right? The different dimensional versions of yourselves are for you, right? It's personal to you. Um, so I really encourage to not get too attached to looking for the answers externally. I really encourage looking for the answers internally, between you and yourself, you and spirit, all the ways that I've already kind of discussed. Um, I think that it just creates this, how do I say it? I feel like it creates a tendency to not have your own sovereignty, and to not look at yourself as your own counsel, and almost in a way like to not encourage your own power. Um, so I hope that makes sense. I'm still like waking up a little bit if you haven't noticed. Um, but I hope that makes sense if you guys understand what I'm saying. Um, I feel joy and love when I see feathers. Yeah, it makes me so happy when I see feathers. It makes me so happy. We're all original individuals. Yes, exactly. You can ask Google to give spiritual meaning of feathers, birds, anything. Keep saying, yeah, of course you can do that. Like, yeah, I mean, you can always look something up for a spiritual meaning. I do encourage like also just looking to yourself, like really feeling it, because like deep down you know why you're seeing something, right? A part of you knows why you're seeing something repeatedly, or something came across your path, etc., etc., etc. You just got to tap into that and then trust that, you know. I missed you. I haven't gone anywhere. I really haven't. Like, I swear, I see comments all the time of like, I haven't seen you in forever, but I've been around. The algorithm really hasn't been circulating my content. And especially last week, because last week was so crazy, post, I didn't post as much as I have in like the recent weeks. And man, did the algorithm like punish me for it, which is crazy. Moon and Aries in 12th house. Thoughts, please. Oh, Aries in 12th house. I feel like Aries would not like to be in the 12th house. Um, I feel like Aries would not like to be there because it's literally like like a void. It's like it's like a watery void is what the 12th house is. So I feel like Aries would feel really uncomfortable there. Um, I feel like Aries moon in 12th house would be really, and not to, I hope I don't like trigger you, but I was going to say it could be a very triggering placement to have. Because the Aries moon in general can be kind of quick to anger, could be a little sensitive, have a little bit of a sensitive ego. And so having that in the 12th house, actually, no, that could go either way, couldn't it? I feel like that could go either way. I feel like that would create a very, very sensitive person. Someone who is very sensitive um, to criticism, someone who's very sensitive um to pain and karmic situations. And I feel like it probably would evolve though. I feel like it would evolve from like being really triggered and really overly sensitive to having a really nice sense of personal maturity. I almost feel like they'll be part of their path. Like that'd be a big highlight of their path, is what I would say with that. Um, Especially when it comes to the identity of the self, right? Because Aries is the ego, Aries is the I am, and to have that in the 12th house would almost feel like that would be elusive to some extent. Like having a concrete self image would be fluid. It wouldn't be concrete, it wouldn't be anchored, it wouldn't be solidified, it would be forever in flux, is kind of how I would feel about that. But that's just my interpretation off the bat. Um, let's see. How do you feel into intuition? LOL. How do you know it's intuition or a gut feeling? You feel it. It's not here. This is thought. This is thought, this is thinking. You feel it here, you feel it in your gut. Like you literally feel it. It's in the body. It's not up here. Like, and sometimes people will get telepathy or you'll get visuals, and I do too. I do too. But if I'm making a decision, right? Or I'm just moving about the world and I'm like, okay, what feels right? That's intuition, right? Like if I'm seeing like red cardinals all the time, it's like I just sit with that. I just sit with that. Like what emotion gets invoked in me when I'm seeing this, right? And then and if I ask my guides, I ask my guides, right? If I ask my spirit team, I ask my spirit team. Um, but it's something that you takes time to tap into for some people. Some people come to this world being very in tune with their own intuition, and some people don't. Some people need to work on that, and that's not a bad thing. That's just part of some people's paths, right? And I do think, unfortunately, our society really encourages people to be very disconnected from their own bodies. Disconnected from their own bodies causes you to be very disconnected from your own emotions sometimes and your own intuition as a result. So if you've had a history of either growing up in a family or just having your own experiences of not honoring your own feelings or being completely emotionally cut off or numb, and also on top of it, like being disassociated or being like really involved in external distractions, then you'll probably have a little bit of a longer road getting back to your own intuition and what that feels like, right? For that, you need to be very present. You need to be very connected to yourself and your body. Like the body's a huge component of it. Um, and that's something I've been realizing the last like probably the last few years, probably like 2 to 3 years. Last 2 to 3 years, I've really realized how much of it is also body related, not just emotional. Emotional is completely a component too. It's the whole picture, mind, body, soul, right? Mind, body, soul. Um, so yeah, if you are having a hard time distinguishing that, it's about building that relationship with yourself, building that relationship with your emotions, building that relationship with your body, and building that confidence that you can discern your own intuition from other things. It takes practice, it takes time, and it takes work. So it's about just doing the work. Water baby. Hi, Hayoka. It's funny too, like, sorry, there's a little bit of a tangent with the whole like algorithm thing. Like, and I started seeing comments like this in the last couple of weeks where people have expressed like they don't like the channel anymore simply because I changed the name. And changing the content, okay, whatever. I changed the content. I needed to. But like a name change, that's so fascinating to me. I mean, it's all that's psychology. That's like straight up psychology, right? Because it's like changing the name doesn't change anything else but the name, right? And Water Baby was great. Like it was great to have that for the time that I had that, but it definitely was not supposed to be like a forever sort of a stamp, right? I feel like I had to evolve the channel because I was evolving. And even when I started the channel, I already had a website domain for BOMISpirit when I started the Water Baby Tarot channel. Because it's like that came to me and just like that was straight up just like whoa, like given to me. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing with this now, but I know I need to at least get a domain because I know this is going to be something long term, whatever that ends up being. And that was a concept I had developed years ago, but I didn't know what it would look like. So talk about planting seeds for long term, right? So I got the domain and I shelved it. And then I went with Water Baby Tarot for the time being. So I knew this was going to be a transition. But yeah, it's very interesting. Um, your weekly videos are very helpful. I don't know why people have a problem with the name change. Yeah, that's like that to me is all psychology. That's all like programming of the mind. I always knew BOMISpirit was the one. Water Baby was just your little seed. Oh, yeah. You're still one of my faves regardless. Oh, thank you guys. That's too bad. Although logo is sentimental to me because of the time of my life I listened to you. Yeah, I get that too. I totally get that too. I still call you. Yeah, a lot of people still call me Water Baby. It's funny. A lot of people still do. Um, let's see. I'm still here. I guess people don't like. No, they don't. They don't. People don't like change. Um, and like, and I remember when I started the channel, I had a friend who was helping me at the time. Um, And he had, you know, I think we had a talk about it at one point, alluded to like, don't ever do that kind of a thing. And I was like, I feel like I need to. It's like, I don't really, like, I honestly didn't really care about the consequences because it felt right to me, you know? And so, I mean, yes, there are obviously consequences, but I still get to do what I do, and I still get to reach people, and I still get to help people. And this feels, you know, it feels like I have been just kind of flowing with the evolution of things, you know? And I actually am going to be taking some time. When is that? Probably in the next couple weeks to set up like some other cool things that I want to incorporate. The last couple years, I've had a little bit of like a hanged man energy where I've been going through a lot of personal internal changes, and that's obviously manifested externally, as some of you guys have seen. And I feel like that period of time's almost done. Like it's almost done. And it's been great. I've had a lot of growth, but I've also had to be on pause quite a bit. Like I've done like little things here and there. Um, as you guys know, like I started doing services, right? But I can feel it. It's almost done, and it's like, oh, it's gonna feel so good when I'm like out of this like hangman vibe. It's literally been like the last couple years I've been there. It's possible it could have to do with the nodes and letting go of attachments. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've watched you for years. We're B-Day twins. Yeah, Scorpios. Same hangman, hermit. Yeah. And also my North Node's been getting activated. Like while I've been in this hangman mode, like the last words, sorry. When Saturn moved into Aquarius, my North Node started to get activated. Jupiter moved into Aquarius, and then my progressive moon moved into Aquarius, right? So it was like, oh, and Aquarius is my North Node. So I've also been experiencing that, and I'm gonna go through another phase of that with Pluto. It's relatively soon in a couple years, but yeah. So I'm almost out of that phase, and now my progressive moon's in Pisces, which is like my 10th house. So I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like we're going, we're moving and we're grooving. I'm loving it. uh, let's see. Hangman Hermit. What is the significance of sevens? I'm so glad you said that. It's been coming up in everything. Me too. Me too. It's funny too because they've been very different than like the normal synchronicities I get. Like I've been seeing like, I still see like fives and ones and all of that. But with the sevens, they come up in different ways. Like if I'm reading something or listening to something, like I don't see 777. I get them in other ways, but it's been constant. So crazy that's been happening for you too. Seven's a very sacred number. It's a very divine number. It's like, think about like, I'm trying to think, my brain's like not awake. Like there's 7 chakras. There's the 7 chakras. I know there's a bunch of other things. Everything's just eluding me right now. But 7 is a very spiritual number. It's also a number that goes hand in hand with being divinely guided. Being divinely guided by spirit and honoring that and walking that. I made a list of everything that is sevens. Oh, you did? You did? 7 wonders. Yeah, 7 wonders. I was actually just reading about that too. Hold on a second. Open my book here. I think I bookmarked it. Did I? Let's see. Yeah, so here's a list of just like some powerful sevens. Oh yeah, 7 days of the week. The 7 musical keys, which are the key of soul in the second line, the key of fa in the fourth and thirds of sol, re, do, fa, mi. I can't pronounce that. The 7 wise men of Greece, 7 elements forming man according to the Kabbalah, 7 deadly sins, 7 plagues of Egypt, 7 chakras, the 7 periods in which the year is divided, which of 52 days, 5 plus 2 is 7. The 7 schools of yoga, 7 days of the week, the 7 hermetic principles. It's like 7 is just a huge, huge number in our reality. And same with 3. 3 is also very significant as well. 7 horsemen. 7 horsemen? I didn't realize there were 7 horsemen. Seven is the most divine number in all religions. Yeah, seven is big. Seven is huge. For me personally, I haven't been tuning into why I'm seeing seven right now. I'm just kind of observing it. So that's another thing I've been learning to do is observing. Observing and experiencing and receiving and not attaching meaning to things. Like just kind of letting things happen and come to me and be like, okay, I'm going to flow with this right now. Because I also understand like when things like that happen, there are other things that are going to be happening like right behind it, right? That are going to be playing into a role in that. Like trying not to attach anything or dissect anything, like I was talking about before. I think is really important to staying detached and staying in flow and staying open and receptive. But it's big, it's significant, and I know that. I know it is very significant. Um, I know for me, there's a lot of cool things coming. Um, but I've just been waiting for them to fall into place. Remember, hangman, right? Hangman energy. So I've just been waiting for them to fall into place. Yeah, I stopped frantically searching. LOL. If it's here, it's here, right? Exactly. If it's here, it's here, it's here. It's a beautiful time to be awake. Yes, yes, it is. Just be the observer. Yeah, exactly. Good. Okay, guys, I've been downloading this live for the new moon for quite a while because we've been on here since like for like 36 minutes. Duh, the time is right there. So almost 40 minutes, and there's still my computer's saying there's still 40 minutes left until this is completely downloaded. I don't know why my download speed is so slow. What, a live? Yeah, so the live that I did yesterday on Patreon for the new moon in Cancer, we were on there for so long, guys. We're on there for like almost 2.5 hours. Like no joke. Like no joke. And by the way, Patreon's like not for everybody. Like it's a communal hangout connecting place. Like we go there to connect, we go there to share. Um, so if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. If it's not, it's not. But yeah. Have a great night. Oh, have a good night. Is it nighttime where you are? I guess it's night. It's gotta be nighttime somewhere. I guess in the world, right? Let's see. Only people that aren't evolving are mad because you are. Grow anyway. Change is inevitable. When the wheel of fortune is turning, they can be mad at you because their wheel is in reverse. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Um, I've also been getting better at like when people get upset, just like let them have their upsetness, and just not allow that to kind of like touch me energetically speaking. And your skin is glowing. Oh, I'm a little sweaty. That might be why I'm glowing. Um, I'm a little sweaty. It's hot. It's hot and humid today. It's like it rained a little bit this morning, like really early morning, like 5-ish. It woke me up actually. And it's gloomy, and so when that happens and it's summer, a tropical place, it just, moisture everywhere. Moisture everywhere. Venus in Gemini was talking to someone in the gym parking lot for an hour and a half last night. See, that's the other cool thing about this new moon too. Um, this new moon is bringing people in. Like there's sextiles for days under this new moon. So opportunities to meet people. You might find that like you meet people like really randomly because Venus is sextile Jupiter. Venus sextile Jupiter is super lucky and almost everything because Venus kind of touches us in a lot of different ways in our life. It touches us through relationships. It touches us through the energy of love itself. It touches us through money. It touches us through creativity and like fun and play and all of that stuff too. So to be working with Jupiter, it's bringing lucky opportunities in that realm. So if you're meeting people, let it happen. Let it happen and see what comes of it. Don't overcommit. Again, have a boundary. Understand the line of too much. Understand the line of too much and the line of too little and just walk that nice balanced line, okay? You'll be happy you did. Trust me. You'll be very happy you did. Like some of us might come out of this period of time and be like, oh, I'm so happy I didn't do A, B, C, D, E. Oh, but I'm so happy I did F, G, H, I, J. You know? Um, let's see. I haven't met anybody new in a while. Lord, send me a tribe. You also have to like spend time out, right? Like we also got to make sure we're like actually engaging in our environment or where we could even potentially meet people. Hey, Autumn. Hi. Yesterday in the live, you mentioned the reality might feel slower, and oh my god, I was feeling that all day today. Oh no! But I'm not really meeting anyone new. I crave meeting new people, though. Well, you know you're gonna be meeting some people in July. Ah, you know you are. Something to look forward to. Um, yeah, July. Anyway. So many things that I could talk about, but excuse me. Now getting out of hermit mode. Good, cool. I just started to engage again. How about not sleeping? Anyone having that? Yeah, sleep's hard. Sleep is very hard. I mean, you know, as you can tell, sleep is hard. Especially when you have a cat that likes to hit you in the face and wake you up during the middle of the night. July's in a few days. I know, I know, I know, I know. My dreams are crazy. Mine too. So that's the other thing with Neptune retrograde. Dreams. Our dreams are going to be a lot more detailed while Neptune's retrograding, especially today. And especially last night. I know mine were. So much juicy astrology, it feels like I'm gearing up to be shot out of a cannon. I'm sure some people are. Blue candle, a glass of water next to it for calm waters in your dreams. Oh, that's a good suggestion. I also like moonstone. Especially for new moon Cancer. That's why I'm like, oh god, I need to get my bracelet on. Definitely be rocking the moonstone today. Especially if you guys have like strong Cancer, like Cancer rising. My cat is forever getting me up in the weirdest times. Yeah, I was pretty annoyed with him this morning. Normally I don't get angry, but I was getting a little angry because it's like I know he's just begging for food. And it was too early to feed him, and he knows that. But he knows if he just like pushes me enough, I'll give in because there's no choice. He's not going to let me sleep. Um and literally it was like he was constantly walking back and forth on me like without stopping, and then when I thought he would stop, he would get really close to my face and then he'd like hit my face like that. And it was just like, I'm gonna lose an eye with those long kitty nails. Um, I never get any sleep during new moon and full moons. I usually don't sleep during full moons. Normally with new moons, I get really good energy and really good sleep, but not this morning. Not this morning. What did I miss? Please let me know. This is my second live to catch. You haven't really missed anything. We've just kind of been hanging out, talking about the new moon. What else have we talked about? We talked about intuition. What else have we talked about? Astrology. I don't hold on to stuff. I've already kind of forgotten everything we've talked about today. My cat has been on one. Oh, really? Really? Oh, happy birthday. Happy solar return. Happy solar return. I have Jupiter and Aries, 7 degrees in my natal chart. Oh, so you're having a Jupiter return. Ooh. I wonder where Aries is in your personal houses. That's kind of cool. Jupiter returns can be really fruitful. Jupiter returns can be really fun. They can bring a lot of growth and expansion. Especially depending on like how it also words. How it also comes up in relation to the rest of your chart. Love your videos. Watch all the time. Thank you. Oh yeah, we talked about the name change. Why some people have an issue with the name change. I'm like, and it's not a judgment. I get it. It's like, if it, I don't know, changes your opinion, that's your prerogative. Like, who am I to say otherwise? I just don't think it's very rational. But it's whatever. It's whatever. But cats don't like closed doors. No, they don't. Like, and right now I'm actually not sleeping in my bedroom. It's a whole other conversation. So I've been sleeping on the couch. But either way, if I try to close the door, he's so persistent. He will just claw and claw for hours, like hours, and meow for hours. And also, I just don't want to do that to him because it gives him anxiety. It just kind of makes it worse. I haven't slept well for days. I thought something was wrong with me. No. We've been in an interesting little, I'm like, what's a word? Portal. I guess portal's the best word for that. Have you ever gotten any more important downloads about upcoming events? About upcoming events? More so presently, just what's going on. I had some big downloads come in the last couple of days about myself in particular, but also what the collective has been experiencing. It's like I basically had a big sit down and like a huge explanation come in as like why things have been so wonky, for myself and also collectively. But it was also made clear to me that there are certain aspects of that that I can't talk about. So it's like hard to like even talk about it anyway. It's like, how do I really talk about it without talking about the things that I can't talk about? You know? Um, so what can I say about that? We've been going through a portal, and we're almost out of the portal now, with this new moon Cancer. And some of you guys have been really experiencing that. Some of you haven't. Um, Details of that don't really matter. I'll say that. Details of that don't really matter. Um, I feel like my Jupiter return has been nicer than it was in my sun sign. Yeah, Jupiter returns are nice. They're nice. My Jupiter returns quite a ways away, but I will look forward to that. Um, the collective work. Wait. Great term for it. Yeah, it's a good word for it. Collective work. A lot of collective work went down the last week, especially for me. A lot of collective work. Mine knows how to open the door. Oh, my cat growing up used to do that. Oh, Dave. My cat growing up, his name was Dave. He was the best cat ever. He would open the door. And I'd be in bed and he'd climb on my head and just kind of like sleep there. Oh, I loved that cat. He was the best. Um, the new art I did of a rainbow portal makes so much sense. Yes. Oh my God. Rainbows. Huge synchronicity right now. Um, yes. Wait, hold on. Wait, come back. Christian? Yeah. I feel like you know what's going on. I don't feel like I need to say it. I feel like you know. You know exactly what's going on right now. My Jupiter return has been paired with Saturn on my ascendant. Kind of rude. That is kind of rude. That's very, very rude. That's funny though. That's kind of funny. For me, Saturn has been. Where's Saturn right now? Eighth house. Is it in my eighth house or my ninth house? It's at 24 degrees Aquarius. Saturn's like straddling my eighth house and ninth house right now. And now that it's retrograde, it's going to be in my eighth house. When it was in my eighth house, that was a little rough. It was definitely a little rough. Not a fun place to have Saturn. Haha, yes, loving the pop of color. Yeah, rainbows, like, that shit keeps coming up for me too. And I'm like, okay, I see you. Even one day, my intuition led me to work with my rainbow moonstone and my rainbow Mayanite, and I'm like, I see what's going on here. I see it. Been worried about nuclear war. Hold on a second. I need to breathe. Yes, you need to breathe and get out of the chaos. Guys, our physical reality, there's going to be all kinds of stuff going down. There's going to be all kinds of stuff coming up. And yes, it can be scary. And yes, it can be very chaotic. And, yeah, it's going to affect our physical realities and how we live at times. But it needs to happen. And there's only so much we can really do about it. Focusing on what new that you can work on and create and implement. And, in juxtaposition to that, like working on creating the world that you want to live in is the way to deal with that. All that stuff is coming up because it's just stuff that needs to come up to the surface to be seen, to be healed, and to be let go of. And if you kind of just succumb to the fear of it and you succumb to the chaos of it, you're just going to keep experiencing that. You're going to keep experiencing that. You're going to keep perpetuating that in your own personal reality, no matter what other shifts happen with people around you in your life. And I'm not saying that it's something to not, like, be conscious of, but you don't have to let it overtake you. You don't have to let it overwhelm you. And like I said, you don't like what's going down, then be part of the solution. If you really are feeling that upheavaled by it, then work on creating the world you want to live in. If we all focused on that, if every single human being on this planet just focused on creating the world that we want to live in, it's not going to be a problem. Everything will be fine. And honestly, at the end of the day, I think everything is going to be fine because everything does work out in one way or another because it has to, right? That's just divine law. That's like law of nature, right? What comes up must come down. What and vice versa. It's like things have to find a natural equilibrium at some point. Right now, yeah, we're digging up a lot of shadow and a lot of that's coming to the surface to be transmuted, and then it'll be gone. And then yeah, maybe some things will be cleared out. You might see it as total destruction, but then we can have new. Then we can have different. Then we can have, a society and a life that's not so awful and insane. But there are going to be some people that will keep perceiving the fear, they'll keep perceiving destruction and keep being so afraid of change, and they're just going to keep perpetuating that reality. And honestly, guys, as time goes on, like that divide is getting bigger. Like the way that divide has been manifesting recently for me, and this kind of starts to get in the realm of stuff I can't talk about, so I can't really talk about it. But like, just know the divide is getting bigger. Okay, between people who are living in that kind of fear and perpetuating that kind of like doomsday reality and people who are not. And at some point, as time goes on, more and more people are going to get sick of that kind of doomsday reality, and they're just going to be like, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. I actually want peace, and I want joy, and I want something different. And they're going to realize they can have that. They just have to make the choice, So the divide's getting bigger. People are coming in and out of your lives. And as you change, your reality changes. And so it's going to be very interesting, like how this is going to look in the next, like till I just got 2026, like between now and 2026, how things are going to look. And I'm pretty sure that's when either Uranus changes or Pluto changes. One of those changes over. I think it's Uranus. Yeah, I think it's Uranus changes in 2026. I think Pluto changes in 2024. Yeah, when Pluto changes to Aquarius, like my north node is going to be activated by Pluto. Talk about transformation. I'm probably going to be in that for a good, like, 3 or 4 years of just intense ass transformation on that front. But anyway, let's release the things that don't care for us. Let's welcome what's for us. Yes. You need a WaterBaby shirt. I am actually going to be changing my store. Right now I only have Teespring and I haven't changed the merchandise in a while, but there are some things I actually been excited to kind of create and like offer to people. So that's also something I'm working on in the background. It's the left behind thing. People are seeing and feeling the energy and everything and everyone more clearly. Yeah. Sending positive energies. I love your content. Oh, thank you. Heightened polarities for sure. Yeah, totally. Love you so much. Thanks for going live. Oh yeah, no problem. Like I said, I'm hanging out because I'm like working, but I'm like waiting for this download to finish. It's just like, oh, it's got like 25 more minutes on it before I can start like editing it and putting it on Vimeo. Neptune retrograde is shifting reality and people's perspective of it. Yeah, and the pandemic itself just really forced people to have to sit with themselves and really had to force people to be honest with themselves. I mean, if they succumb to that, right? A lot of people are still fighting that. Oh, I downloaded one. I probably let a whole other batch of people come in by now because we're almost for like an hour here. The new moon live I did on Patreon. I put my new moon and full moon lives on Patreon on Vimeo for people who don't want to be patrons, but they want to see what's going on with the new moon and full moons. We did a lot of chit-chatting though on this one, so I might edit it to just have like the information. Whoa. Hold on. What did I miss here? Wait, what did I miss? So excited for new merch. Yeah, because I've also been working a lot more with like, I'll call them like deity archetypes. I guess you can call it that. So different gods, goddesses, deities. And I want to use the word archetypes because it's like, again, I recognize that everything is one, right? Everything's one. Like we are all these gods and goddesses and they are all us, right? And we can just call in these energies when we need to or put these energies when we need to. and they are a part of us. And for some, we identify with more than others, which is why I don't want to use the word archetype, because they do actually resonate at the same like frequency as us on a higher dimensional plane. So, for example, like one of my dimensional, like highest dimensional selves, really aligns to the frequency of Ra. And so for a while, I was seeing myself as Ra, and then and not to say that was wrong either, because it's like, again, it's like words are like such a primitive way to kind of explain what goes on in the grand scheme of everything, right? But I was perceiving myself to be Ra, and then I realized, oh, Ra is an energy, it's a consciousness. Hold on, stop it. um, it's a consciousness, but it completely resonates with a core frequency of mine that resides in higher dimensions, and does tie into my origins, as you can say. Like people who, you get into the whole star seed thing, right? And so I work with Ra. I am tapped into that frequency and that consciousness, and I am Ra. Just like I'm sure there are other people who have that same kind of archetype, right? So that's kind of what I mean by that. All of that is true. I am Ra. I'm connected to Ra consciousness. We all can connect to that at some point in time, but some of us resonate at that frequency as a baseline. Like, that's all true, in my opinion. Um, so recently I've been working with Yamaya, I've been working with Pele, I've been working with Hecate. Those are the biggest ones I've been working with recently, and so I'm actually, so I'm working on something in relation to them. So just cool stuff. Clyde is sitting like a king. Oh, you have no idea. Oh, this cat is so regal. It's like not even funny. He literally will sit there sometimes and like cross his arms and just be like, hmm. Like, like he knows he's royalty. Um, I believe we're all decoders and speak a million languages with our soul. Yes, that's a great way to say it. Um, Sending positive energies to all in our collective. Blessed be. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. Um, and it's interesting too, because there have been people who I think get very triggered by my point of view on gods, goddesses, and star seeds and all that stuff. Um, I think some people almost look at it like arrogant, but it's just a different perspective, right? I'm not saying that like I am Ra and I am responsible for the world. Like, I don't feel that way. I don't see myself like that. Like, I'm in a vessel. I'm a human being right now. I'm a human being in a human body. Um, but I am very aware of how energy works. I'm very aware of the flow of energy. I'm very aware of who I am. I'm very aware of what I can tap into and what I am connected to and my own personal energy, and where that kind of like reverberates, right? If you're speaking of certain like archetypes. And I know I am powerful just like everyone else is powerful. But some people just don't remember that. Some people just don't remember that. So, like, when I've said certain things, like, I know I've done this, like, if I was working with energy and I've affected somebody or affected a group of people, I think that really triggers some people. And it's like, no, I did. It wasn't just me, but I also did. Right? I did by way of using energy, harnessing light. I did, even if there were other consciousness or energies that play into it, but I also did. And I don't think there's anything wrong with claiming that. Especially if it's like, if you're kind of in that boat of like you're looking at yourself like you are a ruler of world, then probably not. Right? That to me definitely feels like spiritual ego. For sure. Like I've been humbled on my journey. Like lesson of humility is really important. Like everybody plays a significant role. Nobody is insignificant. Nobody is insignificant, and everybody is powerful, and everybody is capable of doing way more than they possibly could have conceived of when they came into this world. Um, People just have to remember that, you know. Um, let's see. Yes, you know, and the power you work with knows. And yeah, exactly, exactly. Going through ancestral healing big time with my twin, been feeling the eclipses. Yeah, like I said, those ancestors have been really prominent, especially the last week when the solstice happened. Like I wouldn't say like a couple days before the solstice happened, like it was almost like they came in a wave, like then around the 19th. And I was like, whoa. I had this dream where you locked up a bunch of gods. Oh my God. That's crazy. That's super crazy. It's funny too when you have dreams about giants or being a giant. I've had those dreams before, and that's a trippy experience. It's like, whoa, okay. Um, Ancestors have been very, very connected to us. All it feels, yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Someone asked if you feel like the did he select you? Oh, the gods, goddesses, deities select you, or do you select them? What do you think about that? It's a frequency. It's a frequency. It's an energy, and I think it's like think of it like a radio, right? Like a AM FM radio. If like your frequency is changing and you shift over here, maybe this is the frequency where creator gods hang out, like Odin and Ra and all them, right? If you change your frequency down here, maybe this is where the moon goddesses hang out. You know, if you change your frequency here, maybe this is where like hunter gods and goddesses hang out, you know? So I think it's more like as you shift your frequency, you tune into those frequencies, you tune into those consciousness. You he broke something. Really, Clyde? Really? Sorry if that was really loud, because that was like it startled me a little bit. And I saw it go down. I was like, I can't save it. I can't save it. So that's how I look at it. And when you're changing these frequencies, you're also shifting dimensions, right? Especially as you're going through this whole like growth journey process, and you're slowly like ascending, but it's a dance. So, gosh, how to get into this? How do I talk about this? Okay, the ebb and flow of ascending and transcending dimensions. Let's get into this really quick. So when you first wake up, right, a lot of us go really high in frequency, get really high in dimensional space, and we get light, we get codes, we get activations, and then we have to integrate it. And when we integrate, we come down a little bit, right? Because when you're integrating, you have to bring all of that down into the physical. And so collectively, we've moved up dimensionally, right? Collectively. Individually, people are in different places now. And this is also why part of the divide is getting so much bigger. I just heard, careful. like don't talk about something I was supposed to talk about yet. I'm like, okay. I'm speaking very carefully here. But that's why the divide is also getting bigger, because some of us are in literally in different dimensions, and it's so weird as I'm walking around my reality and I can see it. Like, oh, I can see they're in 5, they're in 7. Like I can see it, whether they're aware of it or not. But anyway, coming back. So as you integrate, you kind of come back down in density, right? But every time you go through that process of getting codes and activations and then integrating it, your baseline's changing. Right? So let's say you start here, you have your first round of it, you go up and then you come back down, and your baseline's shifted up a little bit more, but then you come back up and then you come back down and your baseline shifted a little bit more. So it's like we're constantly moving back and forth, but every time you do that, every time you integrate and you expand, you get upgrades, your baseline frequency and dimensional, existence is shifting. Okay. And as you go through that process and you're shifting frequencies, you're going to tune in to different gods and goddesses. You're going to tune into different deities. You're going to tune in to different star seed systems and what have you. Like it's going to shift, it's going to change, which is also why it's so important to not get too attached to anything, because also the higher you go, the more, how do I say this? The more aware you become of the bigger picture, and actually the less and less and less attached you are. And to be honest, the less you kind of care about these certain labels and words and terms and things like that. So I hope that made sense. um, like an integrative dance. Yes, it's a dance. 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 You really have evolved. Thank you. I think that was a compliment. I feel like I have. I feel like I've gone through a lot of growth. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Oh, let me catch up on these comments here. Um, Once your truth shifts, you cannot relate to the past energies anymore. Right. Well, sometimes. I mean, like there are certain truths that I've had for years that I think are still true, until proven otherwise. Um, it just depends. Like certain things are meant to help you through a certain process, and some things are meant to stay with you forever. You know, um, the process of phoenix transformation and ascension. Yes. Hold on. Oh, I shouldn't have touched my phone. I thought it was gonna fall. It's heartbreaking to walk away from toxic people we truly love. It can be. I think as everybody keeps growing and evolving, it becomes easier. Like this last relationship um that I was involved in, like having it end was like a little volatile, but honestly, letting it go was way easier than I could have ever anticipated. Cuz it had its time. It had its time, and I was not attached to it the same way that I have been attached to people in relationships in the past. But that's because I've evolved as a person, right? It's because I've grown as a person. It doesn't diminish the relationship. It doesn't diminish what it brought into my life. It doesn't diminish like the emotions that were there and the love that was there. Like it doesn't diminish any of that. But I've had enough experiences to grow enough to understand how to unconditionally love without attachment, right? Um, yeah. So as time goes on, it gets easier. It gets easier. We are learning our lessons. We reunited with each other. My instincts as a mother interfere with this gap. What do you think this new moon means for a Cancer moon? Well, for if you're having like words, words, I really focus on the houses for how like this personally affects people. If you're a Cancer moon and it's a new moon, you're really gonna feel it. Like you're really really gonna feel it. But it also depends on where it is in your personal houses. It also depends on what else is going on in your life chart wise, like what's going on with your North Node, South Node, what's going on. Like, are you having a Saturn return right now? Where's your Chiron at? Like, you know what I mean? So I think it depends on a lot of those kinds of things. But yeah, if you're having a new moon and you're a Cancer and you're like a new moon Cancer and you're a Cancer moon, I mean, it could really help you emotionally evolve for sure. It could really help you emotionally evolve. It could also really help you to understand what it is that you really need emotionally moving forward and what new intentions you can set according to that. Thank you. See you again soon. Okay, have a good day. Jupiter, third house in Cancer. Family stuff, relationship stuff has been my challenge. Wherever you have Cancer right now for this new moon, that's where you're going to see growth, development, or consequences of how you have handled this period of time. So that's how I would look at it with this new moon Cancer. Again, this is just based off how I'm looking at the astrology. Every astrologist, I think, has their own viewpoint of how any astrological event is going to be playing out. But yeah, Cancer, third house, like that's where you're going to have development or consequences of how you handle opportunities that come your way during this period of time. This is going to be a great new moon for growth. Okay. For growth emotionally, spiritually, especially when it comes to emotional maturity and insecurity and stuff like that. Like it's a really important moon for that. Growth, development, consequences. I love that. Thank you. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I find you fascinated, and I've followed and listened to you for years now, but I still don't fully understand much of what's discussed. That's okay. Perhaps I'm not evolved enough. Oh no, that's okay. Like, I wouldn't say it's because you're not evolved enough. No, I like the stuff I talk about. it's like it's not for everybody, right? It's not for everybody, and maybe it doesn't resonate with you. Maybe it's just not your jam, like in full extent. Like maybe there, you like the energy, but yeah, if this stuff isn't like doesn't speak to you, like that's okay. I wouldn't say you're not evolved because it doesn't speak to you. I would never say that. Oh yeah, like the video, guys. Pretty please. It helps to circulate. Although this is like a hangout, so I don't know if people actually want to watch a hangout like after the fact. Um, so much growth. I'm struggling leaving my Cancer. Oh, your South Node. Your South Node. Well, this new moon will help with that. Oh, this new moon will help with that. If you're a Cancer South Node, oh, oh yeah, this new moon will help with that. If you let it. If you let it, you'll probably get a lot of opportunities that will help you move away from it. But you just have to like accept them. Um, can you explain Vedic and Western validity, please? Validity. There's truth in everything. So again, this kind of goes hand in hand with like, don't get too attached to what's the right thing, what's the best thing, the most accurate thing, because I think it's just really limiting. There's literally truth in everything. So the difference between Vedic and Western tropic astrology, Vedic is based off of the actual placements of the constellation at the time. Okay, and Vedic you have it's the Hindu system, right? So you have more of the folklore attached to um, the nakshatras that are based in these constellations. So if equivalent to Western, sorry, I'm all over the place here. So with Western, each sign is 0 to 30 degrees, right, of being in a house. Um, like from Aries to Pisces, right? You can think of nakshatras as the same thing. Each sign has 3 nakshatras, 0 to 30 degrees for each sign, right? They're not exactly 0 to 10 for the nakshatras, but you can look at it as like a close equivalent or comparison. And each nakshatra has its own ruler, deity, and its own detailed implications of that. Okay. Oh, 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 oh. I thought something was crawling on me. Sorry. Oh, oh. I think it was just a cat hair. Clyde's tail is hitting me. I'm sure that's all it was. And with Tropic, Tropic is following the houses. Now, the reason why in Tropic, like if you're a Cancer, but in Vedic you're a Gemini, the reason is because two reasons. People equate it to there was some sort of error when it came to calculating the equinoxes, like like thousands of years ago, like over 2,000 years ago. Other people feel like it's also because over the course of time the universe has expanded, because the universe is always expanding, right? When you're talking about stars and everything in space, like everything is constantly expanding, and so as that happens, it's like things are moving further and further and further apart, right? And as that happens, positions change. So whatever story, right, you want to attribute it to, that's your prerogative. Now when it comes down to validity, I think they're both accurate. They're both accurate. And there's other systems too, not just Vedic and not just Tropic. There's all kinds of systems. You can even make your own system if you wanted to. But honestly, I find there's validity in both. Personally, I think Vedic is a little too rigid and almost too karmic in its structure and in its teachings. Like if you this is not a judgment to anybody who prefers Vedic. I think Vedic has its place. I think Tropic has its place. I think there's something to be learned from both systems, just like other systems that are also out there. There's something to be learned from them, right? But I've met quite a few people who have studied Vedic, and they have such a like a rigidity about it, where it's like there's no gray area, there's no if, ands, or buts. Like it is this. If you are at this degree, then you are like this. But that's not how people work, and that's not how energy works, right? It's like these systems, yes, they're patterns and connections, but it's also energy. Everything's energy at the end of the day, right? So there's all kinds of bleed through. Like, we talk about cuspers, right? Like someone who's like a Gemini Cancer cusper, you can really feel that. Like you can really vibe with that. Like somebody who has like that like emotional sensitivity and an intuitive energy of a Cancer, but maybe they are a little bit more mercurial in nature than a typical Cancer would be, right? It's like these are energies that fade into each other. But if you study Vedic traditionally, they don't believe in cuspers. They don't believe in that. Like if you're at 0 degrees, you're at 0 degrees. If you're at 1 degree, you're at 1 degree, and that's that. Um, and I don't jive with that. And like I said, there's also more of a karmic kind of a teaching that goes into Vedic that I personally don't really like, but there's something to be learned from both. Also, personally, I've been studying fixed stars a lot more, and I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to learn from fixed stars, which also there have been different astrologers from different cultures that have studied the stars, and some of them have a consensus and some of them don't, right? So it really comes down to your own interpretation at the end of the day, after looking at these standardized ways of looking at astrology. So as far as validity goes, it's in the eye of the beholder, as far as I'm concerned, from my opinion of things. So if we don't have Cancer in our chart, it won't affect us. No. It's going to affect you. We're a collective. We're all affected by the same energy. People who just have personal planets in Cancer and Gemini and Aries for this new moon are just going to feel it way more. Like you're going to feel the intensity of it is going to be amped up more, but we're all going to be affected by it. This is the same way I feel about religion. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel about it too. Like the people who, God, sorry, now I'm like getting into a rant here. Wait, how am I? Oh, we got 1 second left. Oh, yes, it downloaded. Oh, thank God. It took forever. That literally took like over an hour to download. Yeah, because we've been on here for an hour and 15 minutes. Anyway, sorry. Like when I've met people and I've like told them what I do, and they go, well, I believe in science. Like this isn't a science. You know, it's like that like rigid way of thinking. Like, oh, you believe in science, like as if none of this is science. Or as if in some way that completely like invalidates everything else that you can't classify into a hard science. It's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, have you heard of metaphysics and astrophysics? Have you heard of that? How the time flies. I know, right? I know. Okay, hold on a second. Let me just take care of this really quick. Okay. All right. That's going to take forever to buffer, but that's okay. I've noticed on Vedic, but I have met a wonderful group of Hindu people that don't have that same rigid interpretation that was traditionally given. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I prefer logic and reality. This was considered science back in the day, right? Right. Hey, all Rodin, you look beautiful as always. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take that compliment. I came in late, but I've noticed the 7 theme lately too. Yes. Most recent. Oh yeah, duh. And then the 7 degrees here, right? Yeah, super big right now. You're so balmy. It's funny how people use that. What do you have to say about us that are feeling tired and sluggish a lot? Oh, it's par for course. It's par for the course right now. Like, I was talking about this last night, but being on top of self-care right now is so vital. It is so vital right now to be on top of self-care and to really be grounding a lot, really being in nature a lot, making sure you're eating the right things, making sure you're hydrated, getting enough sleep, like making sure that you're really taking care of your vessel and your own emotions. Super vital right now. And we might need a little extra. I know I needed extra, but I was also doing a lot of stuff. But might need a little extra right now, you know? Just got a letter from my doctor to make an appointment. Dude, unreal. It's been exhausting. Yeah, and honestly, I know singers are not going to like this, but this is also something that was coming in for me, for the collective. Some people are still really fighting their own emotions. Some people are still really fighting, like, the truth of the pain and discomfort that they're carrying around in their heart, and they're not facing it. And it can create depression, it can create fatigue, it can create even like headaches and shit like that, especially right now. And the longer you fight it, the longer you do not surrender to yourself, the harder it's going to be. Like, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. Um, and now with this new moon, where we have Jupiter like ready to um, gift us a result or growth or consequence based off how we conduct ourselves and how we handle things and how we, move about our reality. Like, this is a crucial time to just do it. Like, surrender to yourself, surrender to your emotions, surrender to your feelings, take responsibility, take accountability for yourself. Like, it's a time to really do that. Otherwise, it could really leave you feeling stuck and maybe not super happy and maybe frustrated, maybe angry, maybe feeling like you lost something, like disappointed. There's no reason to not surrender to yourself, you know? Isn't weird how self-care is so important, but astrologers saying not to overindulge. Lots of temperance energy. Yeah, this is about moderation. This new moon in Cancer is about moderation. Like, you guys need to have time. I'm sorry, I'm getting all bossy. This new moon's about moderation. That's what it's about. It's about walking that line of balance. It's about being in the world, but not of it, right? It's like, yes, I'm taking care of me and having my space and alone time and I'm relaxing, but I'm also taking care of the things that I really need to take care of. And I'm allowing myself to engage with people and have opportunities and relationships, but then I can come back to myself and take care of me. It's about the balance of life. That's something that we all need to have figured out. But this new moon is a time to really prioritize that moderation. Okay. Lots of self-care, much needed, already feeling so much better. Yeah, it's like what I'm saying when I talk about like be disciplined and don't overindulge, that's because Jupiter is square the new moon and it's also at play with Venus. Venus and Jupiter with Cancer? Are you kidding me? Overindulgence, overindulgence, overindulgence. Like, this could be a time where people could easily slip up with their own addictions and vices and codependencies and overspending, overeating, oversexing, whatever it is. It's like those planets and those signs really, really lean towards excess in a devilish way if you're not careful. But if you have that moderation and discipline and humility, this could be really amazing, fruitful time. Regeneration can only happen when you care for you first. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, yes, enjoy life, but don't get lost. Right? Enjoy life. Don't get lost. It's the overeating for me. Yeah, anybody who has like Cancer rising, Cancer moon, Cancer sun, Cancer Chiron, or Cancer Lilith, like, that's a thing. That's a thing. I know, but it's a thing for those particular Cancer placements. Um, every sign has a cool upside and a not so fun side. I have a hard time indulging. Definitely need the humility part. Yeah, like people who have strong Aries in their chart, humility is probably a big thing. Humility is probably really big. Oh, excuse me. Uh, you've been a vibe this whole time, have I? Have I? I have Cancer Lilith. You do? Oh yeah, yeah. I'm Sag Lilith. Um, which is really funny because even other Saggies get annoyed with me. I try to watch myself. I do, but sometimes I can't help but say things. Sometimes I just can't help it. And then I have like that Cap Scorpio stellium. So, and especially with the Cappy, like all that Saturn energy behind a Sag Lilith, can't help but tell you. I can't help but play Saturn sometimes with people. Um, but when people deal with me, they grow a lot. Like, especially if like they're in a romantic relationship with me, they tend to grow a lot. Um, but par for the course. I know who I am. Low key, once I surrendered everything, got better and taking care of myself got easier. Yes, exactly. It's like I was saying this on Patreon last night. It's like some people are so afraid to let the floodgates open. But if you let them open, then you can have a really beautiful, nice, like running stream instead of a flood every like couple months or whatever it is, right? It's like allow yourself to be open, allow yourself to just embrace and surrender, and it's like everything becomes so much easier. everything starts to feel better. Love you, Red, and you're always a great vibe. Oh, thank you. Let's see. How nice is to catch you live. I feel like we have somewhat similar chart. I have Sagilith also. Oh, you do? Yeah, Sagilith can get me into trouble, man. And sometimes I can be really impulsive. Which, honestly, the impulsivity, I haven't really had anything bad happen. Or at least if it has, I haven't seen it as a bad thing. But it does make me a little extra adventurous, and sometimes people are not up for those adventures. You say things that we need to hear and not want to hear. Yeah, it's very true. I think that's very true. I grow a lot from your guidance and intuition. It is like it's so in time with me. Oh, I see. I've been having a tidal wave. Oh, I know it's rough when like that happens, like the tidal wave, the floodgates, but it feels so much better after. It feels so much better after. I indulge in restrictions. Oh, lots of work to do. Yeah. Can we be in a relationship? I'm like, I'm not, well, I'm not like close to dating. I like the last, like, okay, maybe like a couple weeks ago, I was like, no. I was like a hard no. Like, I'm so not into that vibe right now. But um, I think with everything that I've been also doing collective work wise and just work wise, last couple weeks, I've definitely shifted in that where I'm just open, not attached to it, not even searching for it, but it's like open. Um, Gotta go. Love seeing you and Clyde. Yeah, I probably gotta go too. I've been on here for like an hour and a half. Um, I feel like I need something in me other than water at this point. She didn't say no. Yeah, I honestly right now I don't think I have space for dating, like in general. I don't know if that happens and I meet the right person in the right circumstance and the right energy and the right timing, then sure, maybe. I'm not attached to the idea of dating, but I'm also not like super close to it. Thanks for all your time. Yeah, no problem. Going to make food to self care. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go do the same actually right now. But it was cool to hang out with everybody. Thank you guys for like hanging out and just talking casual. Cross that bridge when you get there. Yeah, it's not even something I'm thinking of. I had a session recently with somebody, and I never book sessions, but shit was getting crazy, and I was like, I need to talk to somebody. Um, and he had said that, like, oh, if you're looking for the guy or whatever, and I actually like, it triggered me a little bit. It did. I was like, I wanted to go, no. That is not part of my priority list right now. It's funny too. I was like, why did that trigger me? And I had to sit with that a little bit. But yeah, it's not a priority for me right now. It's not something I'm consciously thinking of. When you're not looking is when it comes. Yeah. So maybe I should start thinking about it so it doesn't come. I just, and honestly, I think it's a Scorpio thing. Okay, this last thing, and then I'm gonna go. I think it's also a Scorpio thing too. I feel like relationships for Scorpios, like, not that it messes up our life. It's like we're huge change agents for people, right? And when someone comes into our life, it's like we cause so much change, so much transformation happens, and it creates like a big tornado tower, sometimes a lot of them, and then it's like once someone's gone, we can like find our own, like, we come back to our little Scorpio hub again, and then we have our own Phoenix rising usually after any kind of relationship. But yeah, I don't know, relationships for Scorpios are just a little different. It's a little bit of a different process. Oh, it's been cool hanging out. Yeah. Scorpio here, and yes, it's a Scorpio thing. Yeah. So it's like, oh, that sounds like work. I've been through enough change recently. I'm kind of enjoying my space and my alone time and having fun. Like, honestly, and I am. Like, I've been putting more time into just things that bring me joy. Whether it's creating things, for other people, like I was talking about earlier, or just going to the beach every day and going paddleboarding and swimming and seeing the turtles and hiking and hanging out with new people. Like, I've just been enjoying my life and the joy of it, and also trying to create and just finding joy there. Like, that's all. I'm chilling right now. Well, a true relationship is work. Yeah. And I've done a lot of that. Meh. So it's like, again, I'm like not super closed, but it's not a priority for sure. Um, so true about Scorpios. Our partners don't want to keep up sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, getting into a relationship with me, I think it's a really great experience, but I don't think a lot of people can handle it. Like, being in a relationship with me, I think can be really hard on people who are not cool with change. Like, and who are not cool with change, who are not cool with um, spontaneity, impulsivity. Um, I'm forever in flux. Like, I really am. And I'm okay with that. Like, I actually love that about my life. Like, my life is not boring. It's not boring at all. But that's a lot for people. And then because I have such a strong, like, Saturnian, Capricorn stellium and Aquarius North Node, are you kidding me? Like, I've got a lot of Saturn going on in this one little being. And I live my life that way. It's like I like to do a lot and I am disciplined when it comes to certain things and I like to learn a lot too because that's also a part of just who I am. And that's just intimidating sometimes for people. And also other times I think it creates this feeling of like they're not good enough. And then when they start to feel like they're not good enough, it's like then it starts to manifest in the relationship and project out and it's a whole thing. So it's like, yeah, being with me, you get a lot of love. I'm still Scorpio, I'm still Cancer, and I've got Venus Libra. Like, lot of love, but I got a lot going on for myself. And if you don't have a lot going on for yourself, you might not be very happy in this kind of a relationship, you know? Um, and I don't do well settling for idle partners. Like, I don't. Like, I do not. And I like my independence. So, yeah, being with me is not for everybody. Just keeping it real. Um, but I think if it's somebody who's like really evolved, has a lot of their own personal passions and goals and their own stuff going on, and they're really driven, but they also like to have fun and they're full of passion, like I can get down with that. Like, I honestly think I need to be with somebody who is kind of a powerhouse in their own way, and I don't have to like be too involved in that, where like I can just share like the fun parts of life with them. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of an ideal relationship for me, but I also know that's not really easy to find. You know, we don't want couch potatoes. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. Well, the similarities. I don't settle, and I also like my independence. Yeah, I like my independence a lot. I need my space. Like, yeah, like I need my space. It's like I need to wake up and do me. I need to like go be in nature. I need to go work out. I need to go hike. I need to sit down and work. I need to sit down and create. I need to do it alone. Right? And then when the day's over, I can like come and hang out and eat dinner or whatever and be all lovey dovey. Like I can totally do that. Um, but they gotta have their shit going on too. Like in juxtaposition to that. Like, and I also, I don't know why I'm giving a whole dating profile right now. Um, I also like to travel a lot. Like I'm like that like part of me is so prominent. Like after a few months, if I haven't traveled anywhere, like I need to go. And sometimes I'm gonna go last minute. Sometimes it'll be like I wake up and be like, hey, I'm gonna leave in a couple days. I might be back in a couple weeks. I don't know, but I gotta go. You know, that's just how I am. Um, let's see. God nature sounds so lovely right now, doesn't it? Relationships without attachment dependency. Yeah. You're describing the dream, right? And a partner would need to be equally strong. It will come when it's time. Yeah, like I said, not even thinking about it. I'm having a lot of fun in my life right now. Like life is really good. Um, it's really good. And yeah, I got no complaints. I have a lot of gratitude. A lot of gratitude in my life right now. Um, your ideal partner is about to show up. You know, it's funny because people keep telling me that, and I'm just like, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Um, hold on. Sorry. Let me pick this up really quick. I'm trying to pick this up with my toe. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Military romance. Yeah, I've dated a Marine. It did not go well. And you know, not every Marine's created equal, but Those guys are disciplined, independent, can give the same back to you as long as they're still in the military. Yeah, if it's the right person. Speaking into existence and putting it out there. Yeah, later got Reiki Revolution, alive at 12:30, love to you all. Okay, see ya. I was just thinking that it's when you're not looking for it, that's when it happens. Yeah. Mm. Oh. That's my response. Mm. Can you talk about what Lilith placements mean sometimes? It's your darker impulses. It's like it's the part of you that like you almost feel like you have absolutely no control over. Like that's kind of how I look at Lilith. Like, for example, Lilith Sag. I can't shut up sometimes. Like sometimes I can't help but say the thing that I just need to freaking say to somebody. Sometimes I can be impulsive in a way where, well, like I said, I feel like I don't see any negative effects from my impulsivity, but Lilith Sag typically can be impulsive to a self-sabotaging point. Words. Lilith Sag can be somebody who is like so restless that they actually can't like create roots. They actually can't ground anything because they're too restless and they're too impulsive and moving too much. Lilith Sag can also be somebody who thinks way too highly about what they know and feels like they need to impose their knowledge on other people. So like that's what I mean. So like Lilith placements are like the darker side of a sign, but it's an impulse. It's like it's the poke, it's the poke, it's the poke, it's the poke, it's the poke that comes from internal, the internal self. Lilith Aries, chaotic childlike behavior, yeah. Like a Lilith Sag would have a really hard time, like not constantly teaching you about yourself. Might even come off a little critical as well. Um, you guys are still here. I already had dinner. Yeah, I keep saying I want to go, and then I'm like, I'm still here. But I do have to go. My video is buffered, and I want to get this up on Vimeo. So for any of you who are interested in the new moon live that I did yesterday, it's already on Patreon. But if you want to not sign up on Patreon, but you want to watch it, it's going to be on Vimeo later today. Okay? All right, I am going to go. So have a great new moon. Happy new moon, Cancer. Have a really good day, night, whatever time zone it is for you guys out there. And I will catch you guys later. Okay? Bye, guys. Take care.